Roseland Candy Castle can ship your chocolates anywhere. Visit online at roselandcandy.com. Celebrate the holidays with chocolates from Roseland Candy Castle on 5th Avenue in New Brighton.
Hi, folks. I'm with our good friend John Diagardi from Roe Monument. John, you were telling me earlier that people really should not rush into choosing a memorial for their loved one. Now, why is that?
We found that families need to take ample time to grieve first. Grief is not something that we get over, but rather something that we learn to live with. So the length of time to grieve varies from person to person.
You mentioned that the monument can't be placed right away.
That's right. There are certain things that need to take place before a monument can be installed. So it's really worth taking time to think about how to plan and design a memorial that truly reflects a person's life. It's actually a healing activity that helps to alleviate grief.
John, this makes a lot of sense.
It does, and when the time is right to proceed, not only can Roe Monument help families choose and design their memorial, we can help them save as much as 50% by eliminating the middleman.
Thank you, John. Folks, you can learn more simply by visiting RoeMonuments.com.
Pittsburgh Penguins hockey is back on Beaver County Radio.
Goal, right to the front right there. Carter, he scores! Big goal for Big Jeff!
Tune in all season long as the revamped Pittsburgh Penguins are on a quest to win their 6th Stanley Cup. Penguins hockey on Beaver County Radio is brought to you by St. Barnabas Healthcare System, Falcone's Moon Township Board, Patriot Home Care, Forward RX, and Beaver County Radio.
Tune in to Driving in the Fast Lane with Frank Sparks on 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Frank will talk about what's happening in the news, locally, regionally, and nationally. There's also music to get you started for the day. The show is brought to you by Patriot Home Care. So set your radio dial to 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. We're streamed live on BeaverCountyRadio.com. So you can listen every morning on Beaver County Radio.
One of the greatest honors a person can receive is to be gathered with their people at the time of their passing. Even biblical authors, when they wanted to explain what it meant to have lived a great, prosperous, and meaningful life, spoke of the individual as having lived a long time and being gathered with friends and relatives near as they closed out their twilight years. Being gathered together with loved ones is something that the J&J Spratt Funeral Home takes very seriously as well. The comfort both given and received cannot be underestimated. J&J Spratt Funeral Home also knows that the honor shown to a loved one at their time of need in this manner is still the right thing to do today. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has been gathering together with area families for 4 generations and looks forward to honoring future residents deserving of being gathered together with friends and family. Click jjspratfh.com.
Freedom United Federal Credit Union proudly presents the return of Beaver County's #1 buy, sell, and trade show, Yankee Trader. The all-new Yankee Trader is back, and popular show host Diane Brocious will return to host every Saturday morning from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on Beaver County Radio. So get ready to buy, sell, and trade every Saturday, right here on Beaver County Radio. The Yankee Trader Show is brought to you by your friends at Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester. You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls. Welcome to the Best of Beaver County, presented by St. Barnabas, a weekly segment dedicated to putting the focus on the amazing things and the amazing people behind them in Beaver County. The Best of Beaver County is sponsored by and content is provided by St. Barnabas. The show airs every Thursday from 11 to 11:30 on WBVP, WMBA, 99.3 FM, and Facebook Live. Now, with no further ado, let's welcome host Mike Romide to introduce today's program.
And good morning and welcome to the Best of Beaver County. I am Mike Romai, and every Thursday we get together to do this program and talk with interesting people throughout Beaver County and our region. Interesting people who are making a difference, people who make our area a home and just love it here and have plenty of nice things to talk about. And that is the case with our guest this morning. His name is Dan Hoffman. Dan is an insurance agent for State Farm right up here on Dutch Ridge Road in Brighton Township. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having me.
I know it was a long commute for you to get over here.
Yeah, we're pretty much neighbors, right?
Yeah.
Right down the road.
And like a good neighbor, we have you right here.
That's right.
Except for they're doing a little bit of road work out here.
Yeah,
on Dutch
I
Ridge.
wasn't expecting that this morning, but
added a minute and a half to your commute
That's
to
right.
get down the road from here. But welcome to the program. And insurance and the insurance industry and insurance agents, it's like a personal relationship. I mean, I send you money, and then I don't talk to you unless I need you, unless a tree falls on my house.
Yeah, you know what? We have the connotation where we are there when the worst happens, and so you might not want to call us because bad things usually happen when you are calling us. But I think that the biggest thing when it comes to insurance agents is we're there to help, and that's what I like to portray to people is my job is helping you when something goes wrong, helping you when the worst happens. That's what I'm there for. So I'm there to help you recover from that and to be able to continue your life the way you want to if tragedy does strike.
Tell us a little bit about Dan Hoffman.
Born and raised in Beaver County. Mm-hmm. Grew up in Patterson Township. Went to Blackhawk High School. Currently still live in Beaver County. Obviously, my office is in Beaver County. Played baseball at Blackhawk. My wife and I have been together since we were in high school. Both went to Blackhawk High School.
We should have brought her in.
I should have. That's right. That's right.
She's probably listening or watching it on Facebook
She is.
Live.
She probably is listening. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She told me to give her a shout out here. So
it's like the dating game. Tell us one thing about her. No, just kidding. No. So you were high school sweethearts.
Yes. Yep.
Very nice.
Yep. Been together since we were juniors in high school, and so we've went through being young together and going to college and getting married, starting a business and a family. So been through it all from when we were young till now. So
from the cradle to the grave.
That's right. That's right.
And they said it would never last.
That's right. That's right.
Did they?
A lot of people did. Yeah. I'm sure, yeah. A lot of people don't think that you meet somebody in high school, that's the person you'll be with. But that's just how it's worked out, and it's worked out phenomenally. So I can't complain.
That's wonderful. And you went away to college. You went to Teal.
Yeah.
For a little while.
Yeah. After high school, went to Teal. I've always kind of been a homebody sort of person, not somebody that had ambitions of, traveling the country or going anywhere, big city. And so went up there to Greenville, and it was just one of those things where you didn't feel it was for me. Came back, ended up finishing my college career at Geneva. From there, got into the business world, had an internship with Allstate. That kind of got me into the insurance industry from there.
And when you went to college, what was your major?
So it was business administration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So eventually you were going to end up in an office somewhere.
Somewhere. Yeah, that was my thought. I mean, I think, when everybody goes to college, they think, well, if I get business, I can go a lot of different directions with it. That was my thought, I think like any young person, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Insurance was not on my radar. And so it was one of those things where I felt like, hey, if I get a business degree, I can go in a lot of different directions with that. And so, I felt like, business was going to be the place at some aspect for me, but I just didn't know where or how that was going to play out.
Now, Teal is up the road a little piece. It's country up in that area, right?
Yes, correct.
And very nice campus.
Yeah.
Beautiful place. But being from Patterson, just taking a trip down the hill and going to Geneva, what was that experience for you at Geneva?
So I think it was a good experience. I think I can't say that I had what some others would because, I stayed at home. I didn't, I didn't live there. I didn't, but I went to school there. And I think for me, the biggest aspect of going there was the fact that I could, stay at home and kind of continue to do, live my life like I was used to living at home. And, my wife went to Penn State Beaver, so she was local as well. So, it kind of fit into what I was comfortable with.
When you stay at home for college, do you get the meal plan that goes along with that? Because I know college students, you're living in a dorm, you get the meal plan, you got to pay extra for that.
Well, I had no meal plan other than living at home, and I think I probably had a better meal plan than you got at college. So my mom was somebody who, I'll tell you what, one thing that she could do is cook. It's still to this day. So
what's your favorite thing she cooks?
I would say, and I think anybody you would ask, she can bake cookies. She would do Christmas cookies. She has a sugar cookie that I think tops everybody. So I think that's, if you ask anybody in my family, my in-laws, my family, anybody who knows her, that's the one. The sugar cookie that she makes is top notch.
So this is her time of the year.
Oh yes, for sure.
Basically, has she already started?
No, she doesn't. She used to sell them. She doesn't anymore. She just doesn't. But the big thing is she does them and decorates them for my kid's birthday. So my daughter had a birthday in October, and so she did. My daughter loves to dance, so ballerina stuff. And my son, we did baseballs and monster trucks. And so she loves to do that for the kids, and she's very talented when it comes to that stuff.
So it's a tough act to follow for your wife because it's Christmas season pretty soon, and she'll say, I'll make some cookies. And the kids will say, no, Grandma's cookies.
Well, you know what? I think my wife, she is okay with that because she likes Grandma's cookies as much as the kids do. So, yeah.
So it sounds like a storybook existence that you've had so far.
Yeah, I mean, everybody goes through, ups and downs and things like that. But yeah, I cannot complain. I'm somebody who's a very positive-minded person. And so for me, I always try to look at the bright side of things. My wife would like to say sometimes that I view the world with, rainbows and butterflies. But I do. I think, positive mindset into your life and your day-to-day. I mean, I think that breeds positivity into your day, whether it's in business or your personal life. And so, I've been blessed with a great support system, my family, my wife specifically, my children, my parents, my in-laws, outstanding people. They help us a lot day to day, with things. So I can't go without saying that I have a huge support system that's helped us get to where we are today.
What is it about Beaver County that keeps you here? Because you're an educated person, your wife's educated, you could have moved anywhere with a business degree. What kept you in Beaver County?
I think both my wife and I share one thing, that we are close-knit with our family, whether that's her family or my family. It's a close-knit environment. We enjoy being around our family. And, we were never people that wanted to up and leave. I mean, we lived in Hopewell for 6 years. So still in Beaver County, but not, where we grew up. And so really it was one of those things that more of a comfort level, I'd say. We knew Beaver County, and I think, me thinking about business and wanting to get in business, I liked the idea of having some sort of knowledge and comfort level about my surroundings. And I think that's what I love about being an insurance agent in the county that I grew up in, is the fact that for me, I know the county, I know the businesses, I know, I grew up here, went to school here. And so for me, it's just that comfort level and that knowledge of the community that I like. And I think it gives me a comfort level to do business and be myself and, and show people that.
The language.
Correct.
The language we speak.
That's right.
In
That's
Beaver
right.
County.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And how did, as far as going to Geneva and getting your business degree, how did you end up in the insurance industry?
So when I was in school, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I had a professor at Geneva that had actually worked at a State Farm agent's office. And funny story, me and a couple local agents, we have actually went and spoke in her class. I don't think it was last year, but the past few years before that, we'd speak to business students and kind of tell them about the insurance industry, some things they may be learning that correlates to, the real world insurance industry. And so when I did my internship, I did it with Allstate, and they got me licensed. I worked there for like 9 months. And I'll be honest, like I told you earlier, I didn't know if it was the insurance industry or where I was at, but I was not happy. I did not like it. It wasn't something I enjoyed. But, I spent the time to go to school. I spent the time to do an internship. I spent the time to get licensed. And so I said to myself, I don't know if it's where I'm at or if it's the insurance industry in general that's just not for me. And so I got lucky where I started looking. There was an individual that took over for an agent in Beaver Falls named Ed Isabella, currently an agent for State Farm. And I give Eddie a lot of credit. I started with him. He came from the banking industry into the insurance industry. And I give Eddie a lot of credit to where I'm at today. So once I got with State Farm, it was a totally different environment. Just the office environment, and I guess the way forward for me. There was no progression that I saw for me when I worked for Allstate. But when I went to State Farm, I could see that, Eddie had my best interests at hand, and he taught me, he kind of gave me the freedom to grow in that role. And then he put me in the position, somewhat to his detriment, losing an employee, a good employee. And he pushed me to do more and pushed me to say, hey, you could do this on your own. You could own your own business. You could do this for State Farm. And I want to set you up and put you in the position to do that. So I give him a lot of credit for giving me the tools, the backing, the knowledge, some of the things that I needed, kind of the push to get into it on my own. So I give him a lot of credit for kind of pushing me into the role that I'm in today.
And for most of us, our experience at an insurance agent's office is walking in the door, paying a bill, a receptionist is there, and that's pretty much it. You guys are on the road a lot, aren't you, as agents?
Yeah, I mean, so I would say it's changed a little bit in today's world where you have a virtual environment you can do some things in. But I personally, what I like about State Farm, what I like about the insurance industry, especially with State Farm, is they put the emphasis on a local agent and somebody being local in the community. And so for me, I think even though we do everything in this world on a computer or digitally today, I think a lot of people still see the value in having a local office. Somebody like myself and my staff, I have 5 other employees. And so we are here, and a lot of my employees are from, 2 of my employees are from Brighton Township here. All of my employees are Beaver County residents. And so I think, putting those people in those seats that talk to customers every day, I think it's important they can relate to customers. Like you said, I mean, as far as being on the road, I mean, I'm all over the county doing things. I like to be involved, school districts, sponsoring things. I like to do a lot of the events. We're going to be the main sponsor at Beaver Light Up Night. Oh, okay. And so for me, it's about getting involved in the community, being present. And it's not even for, I guess, business purposes. I want people to see and understand that I am here to help my community. I want my office to be a good neighbor to my community. I want them to see that I want to use my standing as a business owner in the community to help others, whether that's donating to things for the schools, or if that's for community events. That's a big thing for me, is using my office to be a pillar in the community.
When I first found out that you were coming on the program today, I told Gary, I said, tell him to bring some tchotchkes, because I know that insurance agencies and State Farm specifically, they get a lot of tchotchkes with the jacket on. But that's a part of being a part of the community, because in my work at one time in nonprofits, we would call on people a lot in the insurance agency, and you would donate things, and you would be there. Eddie Isabella, I know from Beaver Falls, and when Beaver Falls is having something at the Falls Park or any place else, you always see a table and Eddie's stuff there.
Yep.
So that's a part of what is expected of you as a State Farm agent?
I would say it's encouraged. You have some agents, maybe they're just different stages of their career, or they have different things going on a personal level that maybe they don't have as much involvement as others do. And it's more something that is encouraged. State Farm, the biggest thing about them that I would say that differentiates them from others is this. We could go like a Progressive or a Geico, and we could go and say, hey, you know what? We can save you money. You just buy it online. You do it all yourself. But think of it this way. The way I look at it is they encourage us to be pillars in the community, because if something goes wrong, you can come. Obviously, we're neighbors. You can come right down to my office. You can, sit in front of me or my staff, and we can help you with that.
But do you think not having an ostrich as a mascot is something?
I'll say this: State Farm has done a phenomenal job with Jake from State Farm. Everybody
Jake,
knows that
right.
I am shocked that young kids. I have a cutout of Jake in my office, and I will take him to events, and I am shocked at the young kids that know who Jake from State Farm is. So I will say they have done a phenomenal job with that.
It's kind of like meeting a radio personality. You say, oh, disappointing, you're not Jake.
That's right. That's right. You know what? And everybody will give you the Jake. That's why I wore my red and khakis today, to kind of fit that role. So
our guest is Dan Hoffman. He is a State Farm agent. He's located at 3495 Dutch Ridge Road here in Brighton Township and all over Beaver County. We're going to continue our conversation because we're going to find out it's not just Beaver County that he is licensed to sell insurance in a lot of different states as well. We'll talk more about the industry and about Dan Hoffman right here on the Best of Beaver County.
It's so good to see you.
Jennifer, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Is your mom doing any better?
Thank you for asking. I don't know if I can answer without being emotional. I'm sorry. I'm just tired and worried. I can't always be there for her, and it's so stressful.
I really understand. That's how I was with my dad. I'd recommend calling St. Barnabas. We did. We started with just having them come in for home care. He was so excited to see them show up. And when he needed more, we were able to move him in at Beaver Meadows, where he still has his own home-like space and excellent care.
Thanks for telling me that. I don't even know how to start, but I have to do something.
Oh, you can just give St. Barnabas a call. They have directors that can explain how it all works. Trust me, you'll feel so much better, and so will your mom.
I'm so glad I ran into you.
Visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-443-0700 for care apart from the ordinary.
It's the best of Beaver County on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. I'm Mike Romai, and our guest is Dan Hoffman. Dan is an insurance agent, and he has a State Farm agency right here on Dutch Ridge Road. So we're talking about Dan and his background. He graduated from Blackhawk High School as a baseball player, has a wife and family in the community as well. So he's a lifer here in Beaver County and is bringing more people into it as well. It is fun to be local because I'm local, my kids are local, we have grandchildren, and we're just within a couple miles of our grandchildren, so we see them all the time. Mm-hmm. You hear about grandparents and grandparents, I don't see them, maybe call once in a while, but when you're local, mm-hmm. you're right there.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. My parents, my in-laws, they all have that a great ability to be with the kids as much as they want. So, it is. It's an enjoyable thing. You know, you don't realize until you have kids and you see them interact, you know, that it's definitely something that you want more of. You want your parents to be around them, spend as much time as possible with them. So, yes. So, everybody's in Beaver County, and it's enjoyable for the kids for sure.
It's a wonderful thing. Mm-hmm. You played baseball at Blackhawk.
Yes.
And what position?
So, I was first base and pitcher.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to ask you the record. How fast could you throw?
I can't even remember. Maybe 80. I wasn't a real hard thrower. I'd love to tell you I was, but I was not.
When you see somebody like Paul Skeens doing a remarkable job like he has done for the Pirates in his rookie year and all the accolades coming his way, do you oftentimes think, maybe I could have been there?
Listen, I never had any talent like Paul Skeens did. You know, I always gravitate myself, as when you talk pitching, more towards Greg Maddux, somebody who didn't throw real hard but had a lot of control.
Okay.
And so I think the amazing thing with Paul Skeens is not only does he throw extremely hard, but he has that control, and you don't get that. You don't get that mix of, you know, usually if somebody throw hard, maybe a little control issues, and so Paul Skeens has, I guess, the best of both worlds. And, you know, I do love to watch pitching in baseball. It's something I've enjoyed my entire life. And, you know, we frequent the Pirate games. You know, my kids enjoy it. My parents, my in-laws, everybody that, you know, is in my family enjoys it. My father-in-law, he played baseball, you know, years ago, for Freedom Rochester.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what was your best pitch?
Change-up, I'd say.
Change-up. Oh, okay. Get them going on the change-up, huh? Expecting the fastball.
Like I said, I was not somebody who threw real hard. It was more control and changing speeds and you know, getting people off balance that way. So for me, I guess my claim to fame would be, you know, when we were in high school, I can't say that I was anybody highly recruited or anything like that, but we played Punxsutawney in the playoffs, and that year they had Devin Mesoraco, which I don't know if anybody knows the name, but he was selected 15th overall by the Cincinnati Reds, was a catcher, ended up playing for the Reds and the Mets. You know, Punxsutawney killed us that day. I mean, we did not beat them, but I was able to be the only one to get him out. So, you know, I'll use that as my, you know, I guess my calling card when I talk about baseball. So,
is their mascot the groundhog?
Yeah, woodchucks, I believe.
Woodchucks,
okay. I can't remember. I'm not sure. Maybe groundhogs. I'm not even sure.
I started to go with gopher, and then I thought, no, it's a groundhog.
I'm not sure. Yeah, but they had a good team.
Yeah. And how was the Blackhawk team when you played? Who was your coach?
Bob Amelia was the coach at the time. I know a lot of people know that name. Bob Amelia was a well-recognized coach in the county. So our team actually was projected not to be very good. And through most of the year, we were pretty much a 500 team or a little above. And then we just got hot in the playoffs and made all the way to championship, lost to West Allegheny. We played up at Washington Wild Thing Stadium. So it was a fun experience. You know, I always loved playing baseball.
So the class of 2007 was a sleeper.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say so for sure.
Very good. And as a State Farm agent, I mentioned when we went to the break that not only in Beaver County do you serve as an insurance agent, but you're licensed to serve people, sell insurance to people in, 3 states?
Yeah, so State Farm's given us the ability now to do what they call adjacent state licensing. And so we haven't had that in the past, and now, so including the whole state of Pennsylvania, my office is licensed to sell insurance in Ohio, West Virginia, and Maryland. We did that for a specific reason, and we have being close to the Ohio border. We do a lot of interstate commerce with people either living in Ohio and working here and living in Ohio. We have a lot of people that may live here and then end up moving to Ohio, and they don't have to find a new agent at that point. They can keep us. We can transition them to the new state. West Virginia and Maryland are relatively new for me. We haven't done a lot of business there, but again, being in the tri-state area, my thought was, especially when the Shell plant was built, you have a lot of people coming here to either work or construct that building. And so for me, you could be in Weirton, West Virginia or in Ohio in no time. And so, having those other states based on people working here and living in that state, or maybe they move to that state, we can still help them with their insurance. They don't have to leave agents. They can stay with us, and we can help them continuously that way.
In the insurance industry, and speaking of different states, I'll get to that in a second, but is it something that's constant learning? The industry is always changing, so there's always something you've got to learn.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I think that's life in general. I think, you have to have a learner's mindset. You have to have an open mindset. I'm not the best at what I do. There's always continuous learning. There's always continuous licensing and things that are changing. You start seeing the world with, self-driving cars and different things that are going on. You're continuously evolving in what you're learning about the industry, how you're approaching customers. Every customer is completely different. I have customers that want to come in and sit down with me. I have customers that want nothing to do with that, and they'd rather do it on the phone, or they'd rather deal with my staff, or they'd rather do it on their own, on the computer, and that's fine. But I think State Farm gives the best mix out of anyone in the industry for this reason. You can do business with State Farm any way you want. If you want to do it on your own through the app or online, you can do that. We have a fully staffed office that you can call, text, email, sit down with one of us or my staff. And so I think for me, they give you the best of both worlds in that instance.
How has the industry changed since you've been in it?
So I would say it's changed pretty greatly. I would tell you I started all the way back in 2011 as a team member. I would say technology has changed drastically when it comes to insurance. And this is not just State Farm, this is the whole industry. When we start talking, there's a big thing that insurance does called telematics. And telematics is becoming a huge part of the insurance industry. And what that means to consumers is State Farm has a program called Drive Safe and Save. You may have seen a Progressive ad that talks about Snapshot. What insurance has always been is, everybody throws their money into a pot, and if we start having claims, we're going to take money from that pot and rates are going to go up. The change is starting to become, we need to find a way to individualize your rate for you. And so what that consists of is you letting us gather some data and information about you and your driving. And what that does is that gives you the ability to control the rate that you get on your auto insurance. So the Drive Safe and Save program, and I'd say this is probably the biggest change. The Drive Safe and Save program is, if everybody out there has an Easy Pass, everybody knows what Easy Pass is for the Turnpike. It's very similar. It's a little device that would stick on your window. You could put it in your glove box or center console, whatever you want to do with it. But it links to your phone, and it's going to monitor how many miles you're on the road per year. It's going to monitor certain things like speed, braking, acceleration, cornering. And it's not something that can negatively affect you. It's only there for a discount. But what it does is it gives State Farm the ability to say, we know what type of exposure or risk this person is on the road. And we can now tailor their rate to that because we know we don't have to guess anymore. We don't have to say, well, we're having a lot of claims, we're going to start raising rates. We can say we know what type of risk this person is. And that gives us the ability to tailor their rate and give them more of a control over what type of rate they pay on their insurance.
Oh, very interesting. Is it like a camera?
No.
If you pick up your phone and you use your phone a lot, can it detect that?
So it can. It can detect phone usage. Now, there's a little bit of, I guess I would call gray area here, and that would be the fact that you may play music on your phone or use it for GPS, or you may let your kids use it while you're driving. They're not going to use that to negatively affect you because they understand they can't really tell exactly what you're doing with that phone. What I tell a lot of my customers, though, is it's a good coaching tool for parents and young individuals. So if you have young individuals on your policy and you have Drive Safe and Save, you can see if they're using their phone. You can have a conversation with them and say, hey, I see you're using your phone. What's it for? I hope you're not texting or, if they're just using it for music or GPS, that's fine. But I think it's really there, and it's a big prevalent thing for parents to be able to say, hey, my child's using their phone. I need to know why, because I don't want them, statistics obviously say you look down at a text, you could travel the length of a football field before you realize, where you're at. So So that's one of those things. It's kind of there as a coaching tool. But yes, it can determine if it can detect that the phone is being used while you're driving.
But the wife can't see if I was eating a McRib sandwich and drip some sauce.
No. But I will say, we have a common debate. Actually, my family, at one point, everybody was comparing their score. You get a score for Drive Safe and Save on how good of a driver you are. And so we were always comparing this score with one another. I always like to use the analogy that I drive more miles, but I get a better score because my wife, she has a lead foot, and I think a lot of people can relate with that. So she'll tell you. She'd tell you the same thing.
So it could tell if you were going over the speed limit?
Yeah, more than 8 miles an hour.
Oh,
so
okay.
if it's more than 8 miles an hour over the speed limit, it will detect that.
Wow, okay. We're talking with Dan Hoffman. He's a State Farm agent. In terms of what people don't know about insurance that they should, what would you say would be the biggest thing? Because we all get into it when we're 16, 17, 18, and we start driving a car, we pay for our insurance, and the insurance rates are always higher, it seems, for younger, especially younger males. And then we get into our senior years, and hopefully that those, because we're driving less, the rates go down. But what is it that people don't understand that you think they should?
I think the biggest thing in the insurance industry that I would tell people is a lot of people base every decision when it comes to insurance on the price. And while everybody is in a position where they want to save as much money as possible, I think the most important thing that people need to understand when it comes to insurance is you have somebody that you trust. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be State Farm. But have an agent or a professional that you trust that you can sit down with and make the correct decisions, because what people don't understand is you don't know the risk that you face until it happens most of the time. Most of the time, people say, hey, I'm looking for a certain price point, but they don't realize when the worst happens what it does. It's not a tangible product that you can touch. And so a lot of people, in today's world, and it's not no knock on anyone, we're all looking for instant gratification. We buy a product, we want that right now. And insurance doesn't work that way. You don't have a product you can hold, but you have the sense of security that comes with, if something happens, I want somebody to be there to make me whole again. And so, we're talking homeowners, car insurance, things like life insurance. Have a professional you can sit, that you trust, that can guide you in the right manner. Most of us insurance professionals, I think a lot of times we get the negative stigma of being like a used car salesman. But somebody like myself, I pride myself in helping my customers. That's what I'm there for. I'm not there for any other reason than making a decision that's right for them and their family and their situation. And so I think the biggest misconception, I would say, is basing everything on price, and have somebody you trust. Doesn't have to be me, but have a professional you trust. You can sit with. It'll help you make the right decisions. They'll find that happy medium on, we're protecting you and we're giving you the best rate possible.
Because we don't always think that we're going to get in an accident. We don't think that we'll get tornadoes around here or flooding, but it happens. And if you're not covered, then you're in trouble, right?
And a lot of people don't think, I think something I'll add is a lot of people don't think it doesn't have to be something you do. I mean, you could run into a situation, unfortunately in the state of Pennsylvania, we have people driving around uninsured. And so if somebody's uninsured and they hit you, it's going to be your insurance and your responsibility to cover yourself in that manner. And so a lot of people don't, and it's not a knock on anybody, but a lot of people don't think of those scenarios until they're there, until it happens, and then we're having a conversation that may not be the greatest.
And then those of us who play by the rules say, I thought you had to have insurance in order to get a license in this state.
And unfortunately, we see people, they come in and they make one payment and they get a insurance card and they go get their car inspected and they never make another payment, and they're driving out there, with no insurance. And then somebody like yourself who follows the rules is affected by that.
Right. So make sure that you're protected. Dan Hoffman is a State Farm agent here on Dutch Ridge Road. How can people get a hold of you?
So you can visit my website at HOFFMAN.com. You can call my office at 724-728-2702. You can also text that number. So call, text, email. You can stop into my office on Dutch Ridge Road. We'd be happy to help you with anything you might need.
Very good. Nice meeting you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Hoffman.
Thank you for listening to the Best of Beaver County. St. Barnabas is pleased to have provided content and sponsorship for the program. Tune in this Sunday at 11:30 for an encore presentation of today's program on Beaver County Radio. And next Thursday at 11 for another edition of the Best of Beaver County on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM.